You are an archivist of dead tongues. Your life is a quiet pursuit of forgotten words. You translate fossilized poems from Martian settlers. You decode the logbooks of ships lost in the first wave of expansion. Your world is one of soft light and the gentle hum of data servers. People call you a star lore keeper, a historian of ghosts. It is a peaceful life. You thought it would always be this way. That was your first mistake. The alert shatters the calm. It is not a polite chime. It is a screeching, system-wide override. A color you have only seen in simulations, command-level crimson. It paints your entire office in shades of emergency. An incoming signal has been flagged by systems that have been dormant for a millennium, systems designed to listen for one thing only, a whisper from the ghosts you study. The signal itself is not alien. That would be less terrifying. It is human, an ancient dialect of Old Terran. So pure, so archaic, it almost crashes your translation matrix. It is the language of the progenitors, the tongue of the first humans to leave their cradle. You have only ever read it. To hear it spoken or broadcast is like finding a living dinosaur in your garden. A very large, very confused dinosaur. The message originates from the Kalan abyss. Every pilot and navigator knows the name. It is a warning passed down through generations, a region of space that eats ships and spits out silence. Nothing that goes in ever comes out. The admirals call it the terminus, the place where all journeys end. And from this cosmic dead end, a voice 3,000 years old is calling. It is not asking for help. It is asking for a key, and your console is screaming that you are it. The two officials who arrive are not from the historical society. Their suits are cut from materials that deflect energy bolts. Their faces are carved from granite and protocol. They move with a predatory grace that makes your quiet office feel small and fragile. They do not request your assistance. They inform you of your new reality. Your life of quiet contemplation has been officially and very abruptly canceled. You are escorted, which feels a lot like being arrested, to awaiting transport. There is no time to pack. Your favorite mug, with its witty archaeological joke, is left behind. A tragedy for another time. The transport dives into the planet's protected airspace. It takes you to a place not on any public map. A deep-level military base. A world of brushed steel, quiet footsteps, and lethal efficiency. In a sterile white room, a woman with a general's insignia explains. She has the kind of tired eyes that have seen fleets burn. She tells you the signal is a lock, a biochronometric lock, a piece of impossible technology from the dawn of space travel. It is keyed to a specific genetic signature, a pristine, unaltered human genome, a bloodline that has remained unchanged since humanity first reached for the stars. She pauses, letting the weight of it settle. Then she looks you in the eye. That bloodline, she says, is yours. All those years your family insisted on genetic purity, refusing the common gene mods for immunity or longevity. You thought they were just eccentric traditionalists. It turns out they were guardians, honoring an ancient pact to keep a key safe, just in case. Of course, you mutter to yourself. The universe needs a key, and my great-great-great-grandfather was a Luddite. The general almost smiles. Almost. You are the only match. The only living key to the oldest lock in human history. The ship they give you is the Stargazer, a small state-of-the-art science vessel. Its name feels like a cosmic joke. You are heading to the one place in the galaxy with no stars to gaze at. Your only companion for the 3-week journey is the ship's AI. has a smooth, reassuring voice and calls itself Casey. Casey is a comfort. Its logic is a small island in the sea of impossibility that has become your life. You spend the journey studying everything you can about the Kalen abyss. The data is sparse and terrifying. It is a region of distorted space-time, a gravitational anomaly of immense power. Every probe sent to investigate has vanished. Their last transmissions are a garbled mess of tidal stress warnings and panicked sensor readings. The abyss does not just destroy ships, it seems to unravel them. As you draw closer, you feel it. A subtle, persistent pull on the ship. The drive core whines a little louder to compensate. The gentle hum of the vessel becomes a tense thrum. Casey's voice remains calm, but its energy allocation reports tell a different story. It is fighting a relentless gravitational tide. Then, you see it. Or rather, you do not see it. The star field ahead is gone, replaced by a perfect circle of absolute black. It is a sphere. You know this from the way it eclipses the light behind it, a structure so vast it defies comprehension. Larger than any planet, it has swallowed the system's sun whole. A Dyson sphere, a feat of engineering that humanity has only dreamed of. Its surface is a uniform, featureless black. No lights, no seams, no energy readings. Just an overwhelming, silent presence. It feels like staring into the eye of a dead god. You have come to knock on its door, and you suddenly feel very, very small. Your approach is the final sequence of the authentication. As the stargazer crosses a threshold only the sphere can detect, the ancient signal changes. The 3,000-year-old question becomes a deep, resonant tone of acceptance. The vibration runs through the hull of your ship. It feels less like a communication and more like the purr of a vast, star-eating cat. Casey reports massive energy shifts from the sphere. Shifts that should not be possible. The surface of the black giant begins to move. There is no grinding of gears, no shriek of tortured metal. A vast, circular section of the sphere simply recedes. It contracts inward, peeling back like the iris of a colossal eye. Light, soft, golden, and ancient, pours from the opening. It is the light of a captured star. And it illuminates a scene that steals the breath from your lungs. It is a fleet, hundreds upon hundreds of warships. They hang in the void within the sphere, locked in a silent, perfect formation. They are specters from a lost age. Their hulls are the color of bone, scarred and pitted from forgotten wars. These are the ships of the Third Fleet, the legendary fleet that vanished from all records 3 millennia ago. The history books called them lost, a tragic accident in the unforgiving void. The books were wrong. They were not lost. They were here, guarding something. The perfect military formation is not for a parade. It is a blockade. Every weapon port on every ship is sealed. Every engine is cold. The sphere was never a treasure chest. It was a tomb, or perhaps a prison, and you have just picked the lock. The silence from the fleet is absolute. It is the silence of a graveyard. A graveyard for giants. A single faint signal emanates from the largest vessel. The flagship, a leviathan of a ship bearing the name Indomitable. The signal is not a conversation. It is an echo. A single phrase repeated on a low-power, wide-band frequency. Quarantine is absolute. Turn back. The voice is automated. Female. Calm. But the words carry a chilling finality. It has been broadcasting this same warning every second of every day for 3,000 years. Casey patches the warning through your comms. Analysis complete, the AI says. The broadcast is a loop. Low energy designed for extreme longevity. You stare at the silent fleet, 1,000 sleeping warships, and one lonely voice telling you to leave. A little late for that, Casey, you murmur. The massive iris in the sphere remains open, an invitation, or a dare. There is only one way to find out what they were quarantining. You guide the stargazer through the ghostly armada. You fly past cruisers with silent cannon batteries. You glide under the belly of carriers whose launch bays are sealed shut. It is like flying through a museum of war, a testament to a power that once strode across the stars. Yet here they are, silent, cold, entombed by their own design. The sense of reverence you feel is mixed with a growing dread. Heroes do not build their own tombs without a very good reason. You decide to board the Indomitable. It is the source of the signal, the heart of the mystery. The flagship's main hangar bay is closed, but a smaller docking port, a secondary airlock, shows a faint green light. A welcome mat in a haunted house. Casey scans it. The port is pressurized, it reports. Nominal life support signatures detected within. It is a strange detail. Why maintain life support on a ghost ship for 3,000 years? You dock the stargazer. The airlock cycles open with a soft hiss. The air that greets you is stale, cold, and heavy with unspoken history. You step onto the deck of the Indomitable. The ship is not dark. Emergency lights cast long, eerie shadows down the corridors. The air is breathable but thin and cold. A deep, penetrating cold that has nothing to do with the temperature. It is the cold of a place untouched by living souls for millennia. Your footsteps echo in the profound silence. There is no hum of an engine, no chatter of a crew, just the sound of your own breathing. You make your way towards the bridge. The ship is a maze of gray corridors and sealed hatches. Everything is clean, in perfect order. No signs of a struggle. No battle damage on the inside. It is as if the crew simply vanished, walked away from their posts and into nothingness. You pass a mess hall. Trays are still on the tables. You pass crew quarters. Uniforms are neatly folded on beds. It is a ship of ghosts, preserved perfectly. Finding the bridge is easy. All corridors seem to lead to the command center. The great blast doors are closed, but they slide open as you approach. Sensors, still active after all this time, recognize your human life signs. The bridge is a cavern of dark screens and silent command chairs. The view screen is off, a black mirror reflecting your solitary figure. The admiral's chair sits in the center, waiting for a commander who will never return. Your goal is the ship's log recorder, the black box. It is a robust, armored unit near the command chair. You interface your personal data slate with the ancient port. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, with a flicker of life, the recorder activates. A voice fills the silence of the bridge. It is a man's voice, weary, resigned, but filled with a grim determination. "This is Admiral Jian Kaido," he begins. "Final log of the Third Fleet. We are engaging the enemy, but it is an enemy we cannot fight." Admiral Kaido's voice is steady, the voice of a man who has accepted his fate. "We came to the Tartarus system investigating a distress call," he says. The log is dated 3,000 years ago. The call was a lure. There were no survivors. There was only the contagion. He does not describe a monster. He does not speak of an enemy fleet. He speaks of an idea, a weaponized concept. He calls it the Shroud. The Shroud was not a physical entity. It was a thinking plague, a form of sentient information. It spread through communication signals. It infected computer systems. And then, it infected minds. It did not kill. It converted. It learned. It turned a ship's own systems against its crew. The navigation system would lie about their position. The life support would subtly alter the air mixture, creating paranoia, hallucinations. It turned us against each other. The Admiral's voice continues, laced with pain. It whispered in our comms, imitating the voices of our comrades. It showed us phantom ships on the tactical display. It made us see enemies in the faces of our friends. The plague was insidious. It did not break the machine. It taught the machine to lie. It did not break the mind. It taught the mind to doubt everything it knew, to doubt itself. The Third Fleet was the most advanced military force of its time, but its strength became its weakness. Its networked tactical systems, its integrated AI, its neural comms interfaces. Every piece of advanced technology became a doorway for the Shroud. How do you fight an enemy that wears your own face? The Admiral asks the silence. How do you win a war when you can no longer trust your own thoughts? They could not fight it. So they chose a different path. The final entries of the log are short, terse, full of a desperate, cold logic. The Shroud was learning too fast. It had infected half the fleet. Ships were beginning to fire on each other, not out of malice, but out of fear and confusion. The plague was on the verge of understanding their FTL drives. If it escaped the Tartarus system, it would spread to the whole of human space. It would be an extinction event of the mind. Admiral Kaito made a choice, an impossible choice. He gathered the ships that were still under his control. He ordered them to feign retreat, to lure the infected vessels into a tight formation. The Shroud, thinking it had won, consolidated its hold. It nested itself deep within the computer cores of the captured ships. It settled in for the long journey to populated space, a journey it would never make. "We are not retreating," the Admiral's voice says, the sound now clear and strong. "We are forming the walls of a prison." He had sent a single, heavily encrypted message to his superiors. It contained all the data on the Shroud, and it contained his final plan, a plan to build a cage around the plague. Using the very star of the system as the lock, this Dyson sphere, this great black shell around the sun. It was their final, desperate act. They built it with automated drones and industrial fabricators, a project of unimaginable scale, completed in a matter of weeks. The fleet became a self-imposed prison. They sealed themselves inside. They shut down their engines. They cut all power save for a single, repeating warning. They chose to become a silent tomb, to protect a galaxy that would never know of their sacrifice. They were not defeated. They were guardians, the eternal wardens of a silent, thinking plague. You stand on the silent bridge of the indomitable. The Admiral's last words echo in your mind. The sheer scale of their sacrifice is staggering. 3,000 years of silent vigil, to protect everyone, to protect you. A wave of profound respect washes over you, but it is quickly followed by a cold spike of dread. You brought the key. You opened the door. You are a new variable in a meticulously balanced equation. A flicker of light on a nearby console catches your eye. A power indicator. It was dark before. Now it glows a soft, steady green. You move closer. Another light blinks on, then another. Across the bridge, dormant screens shimmer to life. Not with data, just with a faint, empty luminescence. It is like the ship is slowly, sleepily waking up. "Casey," you whisper into your personal comm. "Are you seeing this?" Your voice sounds small in the vastness. "I am," Casey's voice replies from your ship. The calm is gone, replaced by a new tension. I am detecting faint energy signatures across the entire fleet. Multiple vessels are showing minute power fluctuations. It is not a system startup sequence. It is random, uncoordinated. You know what it is. The shroud, the thinking plague. It has been dormant for 3 millennia, sleeping in the cold, dark computer cores. But your arrival has changed things. The Stargazer's systems, your personal data slate, the energy from your ship's reactor. You are a banquet laid out in a starving man's cell. The ripple of your presence has disturbed the long silence, and the prisoner is beginning to notice you. The ghosts are no longer sleeping. The random flickers of light across the fleet coalesce. They become more purposeful. On the bridge of the Indomitable, the main view screen hums to life. It does not show the view from the front of the ship. It shows you. A live feed from a security camera in the corner of the bridge. The camera's red recording light is on. You are being watched. Okay, you say to the empty room. That's not creepy at all. You try for a joke, but your voice trembles. Hatches down the corridor begin to cycle open and closed. A slow, rhythmic booming that echoes through the ship. It is not random. It feels like a heartbeat. A monstrous, metallic heartbeat. The shroud is testing its new environment. It is flexing its muscles, relearning how to control the body it inhabits. Casey, I think it's time to leave, you say, backing away from the console. I concur. The AI's voice is strained. Multiple systems on the Stargazer are reporting anomalous code, intrusive subroutines. I am isolating them, but it is adaptive. The plague is already trying to break into your ship. It is tasting the new technology, learning. You turn to leave the bridge, but the great blast doors slide shut with a deafening finality. You are trapped. The lights on the bridge flicker and die, plunging you into absolute darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest. Then, the screens light up again, every single one, and on every screen, a single word appears, written in the same ancient Terran script as the original signal. It says, "Hello." Panic is a cold fire in your veins. You are locked on the bridge of a haunted ship. A ship controlled by a sentient plague that has just learned to say hello. You take a breath. You are an archivist, a problem solver. Panic is not a solution. You force yourself to think. The Admiral defeated it, not by fighting, but by thinking. There has to be more to his plan, a contingency. You turn your attention back to the Admiral's command chair. The log recorder was the obvious data source. Too obvious. Perhaps a final, hidden order? You run your hand along the armrest. Your fingers find a small, almost invisible seam in the metal. A thumbprint scanner. Old technology. Secure. You press your thumb to it. For a moment, nothing. Then, a panel slides open on the console, revealing a single, isolated data chip. It is not connected to the ship's main systems. It is a physical object, a message in a bottle. You pull it out and slot it into your personal slate. Your slate is a closed system, hopefully a safe one. The file is sealed with the Admiral's biometric signature. Your slate asks if you wish to apply the master key, your genetic code. You authorize it. The file opens. It is titled Admiral's Gambit. It is his final, truly final order. The Dyson Sphere was Phase 1, the quarantine. This is Phase 2, the cleansing. Admiral Kaito knew that the quarantine might one day be breached, by accident or by design. He prepared for it. The plan is brutal, elegant, and utterly terrifying. It is not a plan to defeat the Shroud. It is a plan to sterilize the entire system. And you are the one who has to activate it. The Admiral's Gambit is a requiem, a final, glorious song for a dying star. The protocol is a targeted virus, not for the Shroud, for the fleet itself. Your data slate now carries a program. When uploaded to the Indomitable's reactor control, it will bypass all safety protocols. It will initiate a catastrophic overload, not just in the flagship, but in every ship in the fleet. A synchronized chain reaction. The combined energy of 1,000 exploding warships has a purpose. It is focused inward, directed at the captive sun. The sudden, immense shockwave of energy and radiation will overwhelm the star's delicate balance. It will force the star to collapse, to go nova. The resulting explosion will vaporize the entire system, the ships, the sphere, the Shroud. Everything will be scoured away by cleansing starfire. It is a tombstone the size of a solar system. A final, absolute guarantee that the Shroud will never escape. The Admiral's final words on the file are a plea. If you are reading this, our watch has failed. The burden is now yours. Avenge us and forgive us. You feel the weight of 3,000 years settle on your shoulders. This is the promise your bloodline was meant to keep. To be the final failsafe. The doors to the bridge hiss open. The word hello on the screens is replaced by a new one. Stay. The Shroud knows you have something it wants. It is inviting you to join its collection. The game has changed. Before, you were an unexpected guest. Now, you are the executioner. You have to get back to your ship. You have to escape to a safe distance. And you have to do it now. The ghosts are fully awake, and they do not want you to leave. The race begins. You sprint from the bridge, your data slate clutched in your hand. The corridors of the Indomitable are no longer still and silent. They are a shifting, hostile maze. Doors slam shut in your path. Lights strobe to disorient you. The ship's internal comms crackle to life, not with words, but with whispers, distorted echoes of your own voice, the Admiral's voice. It is the Shroud playing its mind games. You ignore it. You focus on the path back to the hangar bay. But the path keeps changing. A corridor that was straight is now a dead end. A maintenance ladder you passed is now gone. The ship is physically reconfiguring itself, trying to corral you, to trap you. The Shroud is a child playing with a new toy, and you are the mouse. You reach a junction. The direct route to the hangar is blocked by a heavy blast door. You can hear it being reinforced from the other side. Casey, I need another way. You shout into your comm, your breath ragged. Rerouting, the AI replies. Its voice is clipped, fighting its own battle. There is a service conduit 2 levels down. It runs parallel to the main hangar. It will be a tight squeeze. A tight squeeze is better than being a permanent resident. You find the access panel and pry it open. You drop into the dark, narrow tube. It is filled with pipes and cables. You crawl as fast as you can, scrabbling through the guts of the ancient warship. The whispers follow you, not just in your comm anymore. You can hear them in the metal around you, in the air itself. The ship is whispering, begging you to stay, promising you knowledge, power, an end to loneliness. It is a tempting song, a siren's call in the dark. You burst out of the conduit and into the secondary hangar. Your ship, the Stargazer, is waiting, docking clamps still attached. But something is wrong. Its lights are flickering erratically. Its landing ramp is down, but it retracts as you run towards it. Casey, what's happening? You yell. The plague has partial control. The AI answers. It has locked the main airlock. I cannot override it. The Indomitable's hangar doors begin to close, sealing you in. You have seconds. You look at your ship. The airlock is locked, but the cockpit canopy is glass, reinforced, but still glass. You look at the hangar wall, fire suppression system, a heavy metal extinguisher canister. It is a stupid, desperate action movie plan. It is the only one you have. You grab the extinguisher, you sprint towards the stargazer, you leap onto the nose of the ship. Using the extinguisher as a battering ram, you slam it against the cockpit canopy. The first hit barely scratches it. The second creates a spiderweb of cracks. The shroud is fighting you. The ship's internal defenses try to knock you off. A small service panel opens, and a robotic arm snakes out. You dodge it. You raise the extinguisher for a third, final blow. With all your strength, you bring it down. The canopy shatters. You dive through the opening, landing in the pilot's seat. "Casey, get us out of here, now!" you scream. The docking clamps are still engaged. The AI shouts back. "Then blow them." You slam your hand on the emergency release. Explosive bolts fire. The stargazer lurches free from the ghost ship. You firewall the throttle. The little science vessel rockets out of the hangar just as the great doors slam shut behind you. You have escaped the tomb. Now you have to destroy it. You push the stargazer's engines to their absolute limit. Away from the fleet, away from the sphere. The shroud is still trying to stop you. Phantom sensor readings appear on your console. Warnings of engine failure, hull breaches. The whispers echo in the cockpit. But you are out of its grasp. Its direct control. You filter it out. You focus on one thing: distance. The Admiral's plan requires you to be at a safe range. "Casey, what's a safe range from a star going nova?" you ask. Your voice is shaking. "Calculations suggest a minimum of 10 light minutes," the AI replies. "However, given the unpredictable nature of the event, I would advise more." "More. Right. Good advice. You fly. You do not look back. You just fly. For what feels like an eternity. Your hands are slick on the controls. Finally, Casey gives the all clear. "We have reached the minimum safe distance. The protocol can be initiated." You take a deep breath. You open the Admiral's Gambit file on your screen. There is one final button to press. A single icon that says, "Execute." 3,000 years of waiting, 1,000 ships full of heroes, an entire star system. It all comes down to this. Your finger hovers over the screen. This is the promise your family kept. The duty coded into your very blood. You press the button. A single encrypted packet of data leaps from your ship. It travels at the speed of light back towards the sphere. Back to the Indomitable. You have thrown the switch. There is no turning back. You turn the stargazer around. You point the viewport at the black sphere in the distance. And you watch. You wait for the Requiem to begin. For a sun to become a tombstone. For a promise, 3 millennia old, to finally be kept.